You lot may all be internationals and have won all the domestic honours there are to win under Don Revie. But as far as I'm concerned, the first thing you can do for me is to chuck all your medals and all your caps and all your pots and all your pans into the biggest flipping dustbin you can find, because you've never won any of them fairly. You've done it all by bloomin' cheating.
I believe in a different concept of football to Don, but that is the way I am. I'm a little bit stupid regarding this type of thing. I'm a little bit of an idealist. I do believe in fairies, and that is my, outlook. Now, Don's slightly different, and his record proves over results that he perhaps is right. But having said that, I want to be like me.
Brian Howard Clough, regarded as one of the best football managers of all time.
Oh, you are a bloody disgrace! Hey, bud, for missing the target from there, you want bloody shooting!
A charismatic figure of British football who left an unforgettable legacy, both as player and manager. Known for his success, controversial personality, and unmatched frankness.
As a critic,
critically sometimes,
far more qualified than you or any of your colleagues.
As well as being a fierce centre forward, which earned him admiration from people like Liverpool's Bill Shankly. As a player, he played both for Middlesbrough and Sunderland, with a total of 274 appearances, scoring a staggering 251 goals. As a coach, he achieved incredible results with Derby County and Nottingham Forest, along with his right-hand man Peter Taylor, securing 2 First Division championships, 4 English League Cups, 1 Charity Shield, 1 UEFA Super Cup and 2 European Cups that they won back to back. His coaching style was marked as unfriendly, headstrong and arrogant.
How do you react though when someone, from your playing staff comes in and says, "Boss, I think you're doing this wrongly"?
Good, well, I ask him which way he thinks it should be done. We get down to it, and then we talk about it for 20 minutes, and then we decide I was right.
Yet he brought innovation to a traditionally rooted league and became a pioneer of a new style of football, famously saying, "If God wanted us to play football in the sky, he'd have put grass up there," referring to the importance of passing to feet rather than in the air. His managerial brilliance led both Derby County and Nottingham Forest, who were historically distant from success, to remarkable triumphs. His infamous stint at Leeds, who were arguably the best club in England at the time, proved too much of a task, as the previous manager Don Revie had nurtured the existing Leeds side into pretty much an extension of his own family. So when Brian took over as the new manager and tried to implement his own philosophy on the team, it didn't go down well.
You lot may all be internationals and have won all the domestic honours there are to win under Don Revie. But as far as I'm concerned, the first thing you can do for me is to chuck all your medals and all your caps and all your pots and all your pans into the biggest flipping dustbin you can find, because you've never won any of them fairly. You've done it all by bloomin' cheating.
And ultimately parted ways with Leeds after just 44 days in charge.
44 days ago, before I got the sack, they were saying that they hoped I was there for life, and then 44 days ago they're saying, well, I'm not quite sure whether we've made the right decision. And I said to them, I'm absolutely certain I've made the wrong decision with you bloody lot.
Yet in 1975, his brilliance resurfaced once again when he joined Nottingham Forest, a struggling second division team. With clever signings and tactical prowess, he led the team to the top tier and went on to secure 2 consecutive European Cup victories, defying all expectations. He was a man with a unique style of management, a Marmite kind of guy to some people, that left a huge legacy in the game of football. He inspired a generation of top elite managers, as well as inspiring an army of ex-professional footballers. And to this day, is regarded as the best England manager that England never had.
Right, so something different to my normal content, and it's only going to be a short and sweet video this, but I couldn't come past this place without sort of documenting and filming the resting place of Brian Clough. Now, I'm a massive fan of Brian Clough. He was a little bit before my time, but I know quite a lot about him, and over the years, you know, you can't mention football and managers especially without mentioning the triumphs, you know, the highs and lows of what Brian Clough actually did, and he changed the game of football. I think he'd have a bit to say about the state it's in now, with everyone sort of, you know, diving and stuff like that. But I have nothing but admiration for Brian Clough, for what he did for the game, and just even him as a person, as an individual. You know, he stood up for what he believed, and he said a few things that sort of ruffled feathers and took people by surprise, but I admire anyone that speaks their mind and stands by it. Now today, this place, this is a beautiful little village church, and it's in Duffield. I don't know if I've just said that already, but it's in Duffield. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the camera around now, and I'll show you the grave of Brian Clough. Right, so here we are. This is St Alkmund's Church in Duffield. Now if we just take a little stroll through these gates, and literally, if we just pan over to the right, you'll see a bunch of orange, yellow and white flowers. Now, this is the resting place of Brian Clough and his wife Barbara. So I'll just read you what the grave actually says. It says, Brian Howard Clough, 1935 to 2004, remembered by so many and deeply loved and missed every day by Barbara, his children and grandchildren. Barbara Beatrice Clough, 1937 to 2013. Treasured memories of a beautiful mum, gran and friends, so very loved and missed always, and in our hearts forever, walking together in the sunshine. And I think that's lovely. It's quite a simple grave for such an iconic man, but his wife is buried here too, and Barbara was his backbone. You know, he spoke so in admiration of his wife. He absolutely loved Barbara to pieces, and the stories of Brian Clough live on today through the likes of Mark Crosley and Stuart Pearce. Like, they've had me in absolute stitches just listening to some of the stories about Brian Clough. But he inspired a new wave of manager and a new football style, passing it on the floor rather than putting it in the air and crossing it in. You know, he loved to play football on the ground, and he believed that's how it should be played. But like I say, he paved the way for new managers, people like Jose Mourinho, a bit outspoken, you know, bit of a Marmite character. I've heard interviews with Mourinho saying how much he admired Brian Clough, and he paved the way for incredible football. And his achievements, you know, what he achieved throughout his career was just, he was up against it, and he was always, to me, he seemed like the underdog, and Brian always came through. You know, he had a few highs and lows, like I said, throughout his career, but the triumphs outweighed the failures, really. But Brian Clough is someone that I deeply admire, not just him as a manager and as a footballing person, but him as an individual too. So I'll just pan you around this little cemetery quickly, but it's a beautiful little spot. Like I say, it's tucked away in a tiny little village. It's very, very peaceful, and I suppose it's a perfect resting place, really, for such a great guy. Right, so like I say, it was a short and sweet one, this, something a little bit different for the channel, and I was passing and I just couldn't say sort of no. I had to come and film it and pay my respects. So if you ever pass in the area, make sure you pop by Brian's grave and pay it a visit. So I'm going to love yous and leave yous. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for your continued support as always. Had a massive response off the last 3 videos that I've done about the recluses, and there's plenty more to come. But for now, this is the grave of Brian Clough, the man, the myth, the legend. So take care everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
When you die and someone writes your epitaph, what would you like them to say about you?
Oh, no. No, I've never ever given it a thought about dying. When they write it, I'll tell you what, I don't want anybody to write anything. I just want a couple of people around there when I die. Well, I think on occasions I have been big head. It's as simple as that. I think most people are when they get in either into the limelight or all that type of thing. I think I call myself big head just to remind myself not to be.